Are you still there, Dr. Oyekachi Onwudike?
Okay, in terms of research, I think it's important that we get to the realization that research is now borderless. And that's what COVID-19 has forced us to grasp, that we are living in a borderless world. And so it's important that people start to align themselves with their research purpose and find those people that their research aligns with. So it's important that you look at what aspect is my university, what aspect in terms of research is my university interested in pursuing? What aspect of research am I interested in pursuing as an individual? And then find people in sister organizations or sister universities within and outside of the country to see if you can get into research with them. So establish those relationships, network. I cannot never overemphasize the power of network. So it's important that you network through avenues like LinkedIn, platforms like LinkedIn. I'm in a research group now known as Bust IQ, and you get to find people who have similar research interests like you. There's another one, Research Foundry, which is a new one that's just come up. Find people in similar research areas like you, and they don't have to be Nigerians. So that is what we're doing. Find people that your research aligns with. That's what we're doing here within the UK, because there's something we refer to as the Research Excellence Framework. So independent of the fact that COVID is on, you need to make sure that you are still, as an institution, meeting up with the Research Excellence Framework. And then the research, there's something else referred to as the Research Development Framework. So as much as you are part of a research body or a research team, you need to understand that you need to be given to continuous professional development. And that will be judged when you have to match what you've done with the research development framework to see how much research have I done? How much development have I undertaken in this aspect? You need to look into the gaps. What gaps do I have or am I facing in my research? How can I make sure that those gaps are closed? And there are people that will be willing to join you in your research. So one thing I always say to people is, as much as you're collaborating or you're proposing collaboration, you need to also find out what makes you tick. What makes me tick as a person? I may not be able to go to the lab to do work, but there might be an aspect of research that makes me tick. And you have to be flexible, be adaptable. Change what you were, like the rigid way, I must do research in the lab, I must research this topic. There might be somebody else, even in a completely different field, that you can bring your unique proposition to, and the person can take it on board, and you can develop research from there. So it's important that we're now living in a borderless, research borderless world, and we need to be able to leverage on the power of networking. In terms of teaching, I know, and I did my first degree in Nigeria, even though it was in a private university. I know that if COVID happened at that time, we would not have been ready to take on the responsibilities that we're faced with today. But it is important that we also align what we're doing as researchers with our purpose. So if you don't know the purpose of something, abuse is inevitable. You need to understand your purpose first as a person and as a researcher, and know that irrespective of whether there's ASU strike or whether there's COVID, you are not limited. Your purpose is not limited to just being in the research labs. And that is really important for me. I always say that students must also understand that their value is not limited to the scores they get in the classroom. So it's important that students begin to understand their value and make sure that they're aligning themselves as global citizens. So you may be a Nigerian, you may be trying to solve a Nigerian problem, but you're a global citizen. How can you align yourself as that citizen? In terms of doing research, again, I say, as a student, what gaps, what things don't I know? You hear people say, I don't know. I look at some students' work and they don't know how to reference. This is a time to sit down and start learning to reference. So those are the different aspects. Get into research groups of people who can help you learn how to reference, who can help you to learn how to write a research proposal, who can help you to learn how to write your thesis or your project. Get into those research communities. They are powerful. In terms of online learning, it is important that we understand that we may not in Nigeria have the right infrastructure to embrace online learning fully. but we can learn from other institutions abroad and bring that to what is happening in Nigeria. So I'll ask myself, when I was a student in 2010, did everybody in my class have a laptop? No. So how can you, as a lecturer, start to make your teaching adaptable? A student may not have a laptop, but he has a phone. And in using that phone, he can have access to learning resources. So it's important that you think of that. A student may not have the laptop to access resources, but you can make your online resources or online materials adaptable. He can open it on his phone, he can open it on his tablet. I mean, he doesn't have to have such a powerful phone to be able to access learning. Again, I will say create small groups. I have a group of students I work with independently, and I get to see, I mean, I don't know if that is what is being embraced in Nigeria, or if it is something that can be embraced, but you can get a WhatsApp number, not necessarily linked to your personal line, and get to start fueling these research ideas in the students. Don't do it independently. You can't take on the whole world. So these are like some of my suggestions. Students and researchers need to be given to continuous professional development. We want to solve a problem. While in Nigeria, and people are talking about solving COVID-19, which is a global problem. So we need to start positioning ourselves and making students have, and even researchers have the mindset shift to know that they can actually solve a global problem in a local context. Yeah, so that's what I would say for now.
Thank you very much for your response.
All right, Dr. Oyekachi Owudike, we really appreciate that. You talked extensively, and if I can get one important thing from your discussion is the importance of networking. I'm glad to inform you that one of our subsequent discussion is going to really focus attention on networking. We hope if we call on you, you'll be available. All right, also want to inform that we are also able to have one of the discussants who had been having challenges connecting with us, Dr. Chima Ebujo of NERDC. Dr. Chima, can you unmute yourself so that we'll be able to spotlight you? Yeah, Dr. Chima, I can see you now. We are glad to have you around.
Thank you very much, Prof. Abuja is doing very well.
And how have you been doing during this lockdown?
Yeah, it's been a nice time, working and collaborating.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear, because I know you've always been moving around the states. The lockdown has not been preventing you. So the question I'm going to ask will be a bit obvious. So in what ways can we say that this lockdown, COVID-19 pandemic lockdown has personally affected you? That is one. And in what ways has it actually affected your activities in NERDC? Sorry, loading you with a lot of questions. And what is NERDC for some of us who might not really know what it is? So Dr. Chima, please.
All right, so thank you, Prof, for the opportunity. Sorry, I joined late. I had issues with connecting because I didn't have the right password.
Oh, sorry for that.
The one I was trying to connect with was not working, going through. But good enough, I'm here. To your question, I'd like to say that this COVID-19 has actually given me a great deal of opportunity to really work on my personal projects and get my research work fine-tuned. Because as a public servant, you are engaged with government work. Most times you are constrained to working on, the mandate of your organization. But with the COVID-19 that created opportunity for us to stay at home, I think it has given me opportunity to, utilize my time to work on some critical projects that has to do with research. First, what I did, because having built a network over time with friends and colleagues, what we did, it made the lockdown came in and we foresaw that it was going to take a longer time, was to organize. I organized two teams and we started working on two different activities. One group were working on writing some textbooks, and good enough, this COVID-19 gave us opportunity. We were able to write six textbooks, and it's an amazing achievement for me as a researcher, because If not the COVID-19, I wouldn't have had that opportunity to work on 6 books in this period. And that is one. 2, I also formed another group of just core researchers. And what we've tried to do, we have been able to build a strong proposal, 3 proposals that we know, sorry for the interruption. We know that these proposals are strong enough to sell to any international organization. And they are researchable things that have to do with, the Nigerian community has to do with the teaching and learning of science, because I'm particularly in science education, so to say, chemistry, to be precise. So we've developed 3 research proposals, strong ones that have gone through some stages of approval where we submitted them, and they are going to give us the expected outcome in the long run. And the COVID-19 also gave me an opportunity to do something that is very interesting as far as research is concerned. And that is, at this point, because what we do most times has to do with face-to-face contact. So you are not afraid of human beings getting to collect data here and there. So we came down, I called the team, my team, and we came together and we looked at, we have collected enough data from our various work. And you find out that this data, we are focused on some areas, but we discovered that there are still critical information available in the data that we can leverage on to write a different topic altogether. And they are very interesting. So what we did, we started, pulling this data, analyzing them, pulling out the strings, identifying key concepts in the data that we didn't use in the previous studies. And when we finished, it gave us a clear perspective of a different, different research area that we are now compiling together. It was a very big thing for us, and we use higher statistical technique to analyze this data, and the result is very amazing. We never believed this kind of information could come out from already used data. It's not a repetition of data, but we use a higher statistical technique to analyze the data, and it's giving us wonderful and amazing results. So these are the things I've been able to do as an individual, in this COVID-19. And then as an organization, NRDC is Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council, and there's the council responsible for, coordinating research in education in Nigeria as stated in our act. And there's also a council that is responsible for curriculum development in Nigeria. We also do language development. We do book and instructional material development. Actually, our research focus is more or less tilted towards public policy formulation, and also in the development of our curriculum when it comes to schools. Now, what we've been able to do, because our work would deal with stakeholders directly, we formulate policies and we also track policies. And when we formulate policies, in the course of tracking policies, we have one-on-one interaction with policy implementers. And also in the area of curriculum development, when we develop our curriculum, the curriculum goes to the school, and then we also need to know how the curriculum is faring in the schools. This is the kind of research we do. And that also informs our next stages of curriculum review. But the COVID-19 actually brought us to a standstill. But good enough, we have a chief executive that thinks beyond the immediate. So what he did was to call some of us together and said, we can't be quiet, even though the COVID-19 is persisting. We need to think of what else we can do in order to make sure we continue in our policy tracking activities, in our research and curriculum development. So we now devise a means, because we already have a database of our critical stakeholders across the nation. In all the ministries of education and some key, the teacher unions, the ANCOPs, and these are the core implementers of our product. So we put our data, we have their contacts. So we started having online discussions with them, on a daily basis to see how, well our curriculum is faring, and particularly good enough. It is a time for us where at the verge of reviewing our senior secondary education curriculum. And what we normally do in our review is to carry out needs assessment. We are in the process of doing the needs assessment before the lockdown, but we didn't stop. So what the COVID-19 has given us is the opportunity in the area of, interacting one-on-one deeper with these stakeholders. Because what we do in our needs assessment, we have is of different categories. But we have our national dialogue forum where we bring stakeholders and we discuss with them. And these things are limited. Maybe you have like 2-3 hours meeting with them and that ends it. But now we've got an opportunity, you engage with them a longer time and they are giving you information that they wouldn't have even given you when you are working with them on a larger scale. So the COVID-19 are giving the council a great opportunity to, reach out to critical stakeholders to enrich our curriculum development process and also enrich our policy tracking activities. So these are some of the things we've been doing so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chima. But one thing we can get from your comments and all the discussants is the fact that it is not holiday. It should rather be seen as an opportunity to keep on working harder, do what one could not have done, using the new norms, as people are referring to it, to be more active. We really appreciate that, and we hope that scholars and researchers are getting gist and tips to be able to see what to do. Networking, working together, and issues related to that. And of course, we are still making the promise. The next 3 weeks or so, this will be an issue of discussion. But before Dr. Chima will answer, I think we had Kingsley, but go ahead.
Okay, Prof, I thank you for this opportunity that has given us this platform to discuss issues that has to do with research during this COVID-19 pandemic. But I think there are things we are missing out here. Some of us that are in this meeting, we are PhD students at a different level of completing our studies. With this COVID-19, virtually every thing we are doing has come to a standstill. And some of these topics are time-bound, So I'm worried with the way things are going. ASU is on strike, coupled with COVID-19. There is a fear that when all these things are settled, that some of these topics may not be relevant again because we may be asked to change some of the parameters or some of the instruments. So I want to ask, how can, because we have a large number of participants on this meeting, how can our lecturers help us to see how we can continue so that after this COVID-19 and ASU strike, we won't have to be asked to start all over again in changing our topics or changing some of the issues we have raised in our studies, because some of the studies have gotten to the advanced level. So if there's anything that will cause us to change, it means that a lot of time and resources will be involved. That's my challenge. How can our lecturers in the various universities come together and assist so that our researchers will not suffer as a result of COVID-19 lockdown? That's my question, sir.
Before you go, please, we would like to just set like kind of rule that once you are talking, let's know who you are briefly and where your background, where you represent. So Kingsley, please. The name
okay,
is...
my name is Waimo Ezeoka Kingsley. I'm a PhD candidate at the Institute of Education, University of Ibadan, and I lecture at Adeleke University here in that Ede, Osun State, and also serve as the personal assistant and chief of staff to the Vice Chancellor of Adeleke University. It's
a delight to have you around. We'll direct the question, of course, Professor Ajagana and our own Vice Chancellor will address this. Briefly to Dr. Chima, there is a question for him. Please, how can we get funding despite this lockdown? I think it's an interesting question. Many budding researchers would like to know.
It's okay, sir.
All right. So, Dr. Chima.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Yeah, getting funding is usually difficult, because donors are sometimes donors have their interests, and once your area of research does not meet the interests of the donors, you don't get funding for that. But one thing that is most important is to build a network. If you build a network of fellow researchers, if you build a network of people who can get your information on time, because sometimes these proposals are time bound. You have a proposal that tell you maybe 3 months, some 1 month, some 6 weeks, some even 1 week. So if you don't get the information, you might not be able to get the funding. So one thing is to be able to build a network that will give you information on time. And then once you have the information, it is now your duty to look at what is the interest of the donor. What is he actually interested in working on? And who is the donor looking at that will be the beneficiaries of the result of the study. So once you're able to get this, you now be able to build your proposal around those interests. Once you are able to do that, you'll be sure at least you're going to get, the funding. That's one thing. And again, I don't know whether that has somehow answered your question on getting funding.
We hope so. Yeah, meanwhile, because of time, we would like to go back to Dr. Adeleke. Dr. Adeleke was so eager to tell us what, just as we heard earlier on from Owodike Jumbo, that COVID-19 is really a blessing. What blessings were there as a result of a previous strike? And of course, this present COVID-19 pandemic. What have you been doing to keep you active? And maybe we also want to know, what has your association been doing to keep its members really active when it comes to research? Yes, I think you can go ahead.
Thank you very much, the chief host. Let me first of all say one or two things with respect to writing credible proposal before we now move to our achievement. In the University of Ibadan, we have an office of Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation. And also we have the academic platform where grant opportunities that are coming out are being made accessible to lecturers. I remember a number of universities in Nigeria and also a good number of universities in Kenya with Michigan State University partnered to develop. It will amaze everybody. I think we had the information maybe less than 20 days before the deadline. And with these online opportunities, we are able to hold meetings, we are able to use Google Doc. It will surprise you. All of us were working on only one document from various ends. And it was highly amazing that we were able to package and we were able to submit before the deadline. So the COVID-19 lockdown should never be a barrier to collaboration. It will not be a barrier to coming up with credible proposal that we really sell. So that's, I think, like so many of the discussants rightly said, building a good network will go a long way, because what you are lacking in the area where you are lacking in, you might be surprised that some people in your network will have their strength points around that area. So if we don't do solo research, we stand to build proposals that will really sell. Now, coming back to the achievements of the Association of Behavioral Research Analysts and Psychometricians. Actually, it was a body. In my university, the chief host finished from, likewise myself. The Institute of Education is known for nothing but research and research alone. Whether within Nigeria or outside Nigeria, is research. And that came to a time that new set of people that were coming into the Institute of Education were having issues around following the trend. Many of us, like apprentices, we were mentored by our senior colleagues and were able to key into the plans of the Institute. The COVID-19 lockdown, it was a burden to me that all the facilities, online facilities that we depend on, almost all of them are foreign. So everybody will be talking about you use Zoom, you use that, you use Team, you use that. within myself, I was looking at, will it not be possible for us to develop a platform that will take care of our peculiarities in Nigeria? Because at the end of them, so can't we adopt? That was really my burden. And when this lockdown, the COVID-19 lockdown came up, I was able to take it upon myself. I partnered with an expert in web design. I was able to discuss with him using online facilities. Sometimes he will record video and send to share my vision. And progressively, I was monitoring him as he was building that vision. Not to waste so much of our time, today we are able to have a local based, a local developed online platform. So anybody can go and check www.olp.abrib.org. I think the chief host can make that link available to us. And precisely yesterday on the analysis, I flagged the pictures. Experts in measurement and evaluation, experts in educational technologies, experts in online teaching, we were brought together to critique. And at the end of the critique exercise that was held yesterday, and it was discovered that the platform was able to meet the essential qualities that we promote interactive during teaching. So that was my burden that I had, and that was the purpose I said before myself, that before this COVID-19 will be over, the platform should be available. And today I can tell you the platform is available. And any institution can key into what we have developed. And with that, we are able to talk of online teaching that will be interactive and also assessment driven, because I realized that people just took to online teaching without taking note of the assessment component of teaching. You just deliver. So after you have delivered, what of assessment for learning? What of set to assessment with students online? They will get the feedback all immediately, and as they are getting their feedback, they are even getting remediation along. So I'm so glad, I'm highly fulfilled that the COVID-19 lockdown has given me the opportunity to fulfill this dream. So it's available, and I believe the chief host will make the link available for whosoever may want to go through and see the facilities that are on the platform.
Thank you, Dr. Adeleke. We'll surely
And
make
aside that,
okay,
yes, aside that, I still realize that the young researchers, they are still having challenges responding to some critical issues. So we have another platform still called the analyst, but this time around on the Telegram. Your questions will be answered, and aside your question being answered, people will bring materials that will assist you to take care of the challenge you might be having on your research. So it has been, and periodically, I think Dr. Chima has been one time a facilitator on that platform as well. So we bring experts together, look at salient areas in research where people are having their problem. It might be analytical in nature, it might be in the area of design, it might be area of methodology. So these people will come on board, they will present what they have, and people will be privileged, something similar to what we are having now. You'll be privileged, and sometimes people will even link themselves at the back. When they say an expert that can be of help, they continue to collaborate even outside the platform. So I'm so filled things, networks, the platform, the link, the website that can take care of the challenges young researchers are having. We have available facilities that can take care of what they might be having issues on. So these are the achievements of the association. I cannot say it's my own achievement because I collaborated with members of the association to achieve all those resources that I made mention of. So I'm highly fulfilled that this COVID-19 lockdown has really given me the opportunity to achieve what I set by the grace of God to achieve. Thank you, the chief host and other people listening.
Thank you, Dr. Adeleke. We appreciate if you can just chat everyone the link. We'll make it available, but can you just type and chat with us?
You're right. So as I was saying, we need to have a strategy. We need to develop an infrastructure that will support the learning platform. We need to establish an infrastructure. Now, part of this infrastructure, we're trying to simple platform that can withstand the test of time. Now, it is our own institution. We're working to how we're going to have our EE library in place. We're trying to establish the intra-network in such a way that within the campus, we're able to share active library facilities. I get a lot of interruptions coming in. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yes. So we are in the process of establishing an intra-network for the institution. And like you very well know, we're going to make the e-library facilities available so that lecturers, academic students can access e-library in the comfort of their offices, without necessarily going to the queue of e-library or whatever. This is one. Where you see we're improving on the website. You use a lot of academic activity within the university administration, also within the academia at the same time. Now, while we're all doing all this, don't forget that the broadband is going to be settled in the university office. The federal government ministry on the broadband is so. And I hope this also make available in terms of access, internet access to the to students and staff and even people within the university. Within the institution. And of course, by the time we would resume, we already have made arrangement for training of staff, academics and non-academics in terms of very various internet, ICT learning. There were both for basic, intermediate, and advanced learning. All this is in preparation to see how we can bring in this e-learning facilities and also at the same time improve e-learning both for the staff. So for now, you have to educate the staff. You have to educate the lecturers in terms of the various platforms that we intend to do. Let them come aboard, be very ICT compliant. You have to educate the student on the basics, also how to benefit maximum on this. If you cannot do it remotely now while they are not on school. When they're on school, now be able to do this. So by everybody on the same level and understanding on how this thing to be. This, of course, that's somebody who not just to do the teaching, also be the component of the assessment. You have to do that. All these have to be incorporated. But I think we have to make it a gradual fashion in such a way that we don't have a crisis. At the end of the day, is bringing things that people will not be able to cope or be able not to follow. So honestly, this is our strategy. We're really working on that. Very soon, by the time we have the network backbone on the campus, we'll have the broadband also deployed. And of course, this activity will return. Then you put everybody on the same platform, understanding of what the university intends to do and how this e-learning platform is going to be worked. And I think people will be able to understand, they appreciate, be able to key into it for the benefit of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. We appreciate those fine insight into what GSU is really trying to do. Time, we say, is not on our side, so we'll just be rounding off. We'd like to go back to our discussant, and let's start this time around from Vice Chancellor, Dr. Nafati. Briefly, what is your take? What is the general suggestion and advice for us, scholars, researchers, that as regards what we can do to get ourselves busy, active despite this lockdown? Professor Nafati, sir.
Yeah, there are a lot of things we can do while during the lockdown. It depends on individual preferences, depending on their own specialty. For instance, you can really have online questionnaires that can be sent online to various platforms to get people responding responses in various aspects. For instance, if you look at this COVID-19 thing, I know some of my colleagues have been doing it in the clinical arm, asking people what is their own understanding, perception about the coronavirus pandemic and all this. So in many other departments or other programs, we're going to do similar things, research or go to do similar things on the social sciences and the rest. So despite lockdown now, you can sit down, draw your proposal, write out your performer, and then seek out for platforms where this can be distributed and get people to respond to them. So while you are doing all this, you engage yourself in listening. You can collaborate. There are civil society organizations who are on the field despite the COVID-19 pandemic. They're also in the front line in doing one. You can collaborate with them. We get that information on the field, especially those who are in the health sciences and the rest. So there's a lot of things about that. Now, this is now draw up a proposal and look for opportunities where you can really get grants for such proposals. And so it avails the opportunity to do to gather a lot of material and resources. Do a lot of search on the web search. And after it makes it easy now with the facilities available, all this can easily be done. So therefore, the activities and research, now don't forget that with very, very, very much online activity, you can always send your material for people to advise, to review, and you get a lot of inputs before you know it. You can send a question and you need the material or not that you supply. People can send you these materials within a short, with a flick of time. So there are a lot of things lecturer academics can do while we're still in this lockdown. And I think we should not really be too complacent and not.
We really appreciate that fatherly advice, good scholarly comments. We also want to ask similar question from Professor Ajagana Abza. From your perspective, what can researchers do to keep themselves busy, active during this period? Prof. Ma?
Thank you very much, Prof. As it's been said that an idle mind is a devil workshop. So we shouldn't stay idle. Actually, we can be able to write proposals, collaborate, and with the internet online, there is some short courses, particularly pertaining to some research work, experimental protocols, and here and there that one can be able to join and learn. And also, even most of us, during the actual academic time, during the semester, when the session is on during the academic session, so we are not even having enough time to write our own article, as I'm saying. So this is the opportunity. We can write our article, we can develop our concept, write proposals, and also we can be able to in our own time, because during the actual academic time, people are so busy here and there. You lecture here, you lecture there. As far as I'm concerned, sometimes I can hardly get my own time to do my actual writing. And also the other issue, as far as we our senior or the most senior cadre in the academic, that is professorial cadre, we have to depend on our chair. So even this time is also an opportunity for us to start thinking how we are going to write our own inaugural lecture. Those of that we have not given the inaugural lecture. Very, very important. And also we can be able to now think how we are going to write it big and small, and so that we can be able to present the inaugural lecture, because actually this is what the university call us, that we are professors. so we have to be professional. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ma. Even profs should not just sit down idle. There works a lot for them to do. We'll be directing similar question like on the final note to the remaining three discussants. How can Gombe State University now collaborate with you, your organization? What are those opportunities that are opened up for collaboration? Even though we said this is an issue that we're going to talk about in the future, but I still want this as a kind of gist from our discussion. We'll start from Dr. Adeleke.
Thank you. Gladly, I will be glad to collaborate. I'm speaking now on behalf of myself and also on behalf of the AB RIP, that is the Association of Behavioral Research Analysts and Psychometricians. We like to collaborate with Gombe State University in the area of online teaching and learning. So since we've come up with an active and interactive learning platform, so we'll be glad to collaborate with the university on that. Thank you.
We also want to find out from Dr. Chima Jonas Ebujo. Yes, what collaborative activities can we be engaged with you, maybe as a person? You mentioned you have research groups and what have you. So how can we be able to collaborate with you? Dr. Chima, please.
Thank you, Prof. There are lots to be done together, so many things. And as a person, I'm open to working with anybody. So the staff from Gombe State University, we can actually work together, to strengthen our knowledge and to, carry out some key researches in the area of education and particularly science education. We collaborate with universities. Most of the work we do in NRDC, we do it in collaboration with many universities, colleges of education, and many tertiary institutions. So I think this is an opportunity to link up Gombe State University into our network so that we can continue from there. Thank you very much.
It will be a delight. Thank you, Dr. Chima. I don't know if Dr. Oyekachi Onwudike Jumbo is still there. We're asking you a similar question. Yes, you're in faraway UK, but as you said, research is not borderless. So how can we be able to collaborate with you? Dr. Oyekachi Jumbo, if you are still there, please.
There are different ways. One will be to identify your areas of research or things that you think that you want to really do. And I can give Professor Adepoji my email address. That's one way. So I would be willing to provide you with information on possible research grants and things like that. I just want one. Give some help to with research proposal writing. That's another one. And help lecturers, especially in the area of making learning adaptable. Okay, so that's a very important aspect to me, understanding the different types of students they have and making sure that the materials they are developing are tailored or is tailored towards these students, not just developing generic materials, but making sure that they include neurodiversity and think about the different students they have. So that's really, really important to me. Another thing I wanted to suggest, I would like to suggest based on some of the comments I saw in the comment section, I think it's also important that universities and lecturers take note of the fact that the mental health of staff and students is important. So making sure you're showing up. You don't have to show up physically, but showing up in students' emails or with posters around the school so that people don't even have to go through anxiety or panic attacks. I think that's a major thing that a lot of people will be facing now. And given that, what do they call it? The emotional state of things are people usually not taken into consideration. So mental health, it's important that people show up as well and let people, students know that they're giving to their mental health development. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oyekachi Odike. Definitely we'll be looking forward eagerly to collaborate with you. And of course, to all our participants, really want to say thank you. I can see from far and wide quite a number of you. We appreciate your presence. We can see Ali Bey was out from New Zealand, Mustafa from China, and quite a lot of others that we might not be able to mention. And interestingly, quite a lot of members of the AB RIP on board. Once again, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Aliu Ismail Nafati, really count it a great privilege for you to have honored our invitation, and of course, for the benefit, for the privilege to have this platform. Our mother in-house, Professor Ajagana Amza, we appreciate all those motherly comments, good scholarly advice. Dr. Joshua Adeleke, yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
For the members who have been requesting the link to your association website as well as the email address. Dr. Chima, we also appreciate all those fine comments. We are looking for good collaboration with you. Not forgetting to express our appreciation to Udike Jumbo. Yes, we have vibrant Department of Computer Science there, budding computer scientists that might be willing to cooperate with you, especially that your area of specialization, artificial intelligence. I'm sure quite a number of staff and even students might want to collaborate. God's willing, next week is yet another time we shall be taking on another interesting topic, focusing attention on challenges that we have been facing, but not just the challenges, opportunities that are there for us. It's a date we want to keep in mind. Thursday next week, let's look out for discussants far and wide that will be talking with us various opportunities that are out there. We are looking forward to having you. Thank you so much.